Welcome back for another OG Show Live. Mr. Randall, how you doing?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Reel Down.
Welcome back to another episode of Bass Fishing for News.
Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to, once again, the Bass Kayak Advance.
Brother, this is the final cast.
Another segment of Chasing the Tide, your saltwater connection on the paddle fin.
Welcome back, everyone. Another episode of Feather and Fur. Your host, Brad.
Welcome back to the Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Crystal.
Hey, welcome back to Off the Water.
Susie Q here with Adventures of Outdoor Woman podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rusty Hook Kayak Fishing Podcast.
We're brought to you by Pelican, built tough for all situations. Go to pelican.com. Eastport Marina on the beautiful shores of Dale Hollow Lake. For all your lodging, kayaking, go to eastport.info. Yak Gadget for all your fine kayak fishing accessory needs. Go to yakgadget.com.
Oh, boom. Hey, welcome back to another edition of Chasing the Tide, your saltwater connection on the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. I'm your host, Dustin Nichols, and we got a pretty cool show tonight. For those of you that might want to start taking your wife and like chasing these fish in these plastic boats, we got a couple that's doing that, and they're doing it big, man. They're out there chasing tournaments and, you know, fishing tournaments as a team and then battling each other, you know, battling it out. So we're going to dive all into that. You know, we're going to see what's going on with Chris and Janie Murphey tonight. You know, I'm excited to have them on the show, and we're going to bring them in right now. Welcome to the show, Chris Murphey.
Hey, now, how you doing?
His wife, Janie. There she is. All right. Janie, how are you tonight?
Hello.
Good. Yeah.
Doing
Welcome
great.
to,
How about y'all?
Chasing the Tide. Yeah. Right on. Well, we're going to dive on in. Normally we like to welcome y'all to the show, and we'll go ahead and get a little backstory on the fishing bug, how that started and kind of what led you into that plastic boat, as you know, how that got going. Janie, ladies first. So why don't we start with you?
We actually are about to make 2 years fishing at the end of this month. So it's been a 2-year adventure. We just kind of started fishing off the side of the road and saw a kayak one day in Grand Isle. We're like, that's it. That's the ticket. And we've never looked back.
No, coming up as a youngin, as a kid, you got any memories of fishing as a kid or anything, or you just
I've never fished.
Wow.
I just picked it up 2 years ago.
Oh, that's pretty rad. So yeah, so you saw the kayak and you're like, that's what me. I saw a kayak and a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, man, I can cover more water. You know, I can expand my range. You know, that's how it was. So yeah, Chris, how about you? You got some childhood memories of growing up fishing and being around the water, or did y'all just both get a start here earlier? Like
yes, indeed. First off, thank you for having us, Dustin.
Oh,
we
yeah,
really
man.
Appreciate it.
Huge, yeah, brother.
I started off, of course, like most, in the bass, freshwater. Did that all my life up until 2 years ago. I was one of those that looked down on saltwater, like, oh, look at them nuts over there. So I was a freshwater snob. But one day her and I were down in Grand Isle just on a visit and fishing from the road. And man, I just couldn't get to where I wanted to go. I was like, man, if I could just throw right over there. And then 3 kayaks come by and my light just went bling. Like, oh yeah, I got to get one of those. So we did. I actually started off in a BKC. So it was like a knockoff native. Don't let me hurt anybody's feelings.
Brooklyn
but
Kayak
that's what
Company?
it was.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. And then I bought just a paddle kayak. I think it was goodness, I can't even remember what it was. But my thought was,
it was the Pelican.
Pull her around.
Pelican. Yeah. We all had humble beginnings. At the beginning, I started off in a Perception Pescador 12.5. That you got your ass wet every time you got in it, and it was yellow, and I car topped, and then I like did this black fade on each ends, and then everybody would say, "Man, you riding around with that bruised banana." That's what everybody, they've heard it plenty of times on Chasing the Tide, but yeah, I used to have the bruised banana.
That's right.
But yeah, we all had humble beginnings.
Anyway, that didn't. Yeah, that didn't go that well.
Yeah.
Trying to deal with tide and turn left and turn right and wind, and we decided we needed separate kayaks. So, of course, I bit into the Hobie thing, and we got us both Kobe's, and we have not looked back.
All right. So y'all had a tandem. Y'all had a tandem boat at first? No,
I pulled her around.
That's called the divorce
with
boat.
2 kayaks.
Oh, so you towed her around? Oh,
yes.
Wow. Janie she had a free ride. She had a ride to the spots. There you go. And then y'all both Hobies, and then the wormhole. You just dove in.
The fun began.
For sure.
The fun began.
Well, there is a lot of grass there in some of the areas that you get into, chasing those redfish over there, and
absolutely
on the delta down there, where y'all are at. Where are y'all based out of exactly?
We're out of Baton Rouge, but
Baton Rouge. Okay.
We do most of our fishing in Grand Isle, Point of Shin, Pack Kayak Rental.
Yeah.
We go to Hopedale. We go to Bayou Log Cabins, down that stretch 23. We try to we're just learning every way. Just about we go. We're so new. It's learning. So.
Right. And just like you said, coming from the bass side, that's what I did when I was younger. I did fish inshore a lot. I grew up in Southeast Georgia, and we had to deal with a lot bigger tides over there than we deal over here, like major tide swings. But I had my uncles, my dad, my granddad, all were, solid anglers too. And that was the thing, being that bass fisherman, it does transition well to redfish or redfish, or their tendencies are like bass at times,
Sometimes,
and the lures, you can use very similar lures. Like you can use crawl imitations. Like nobody over here does that. And I had always been doing that. And I'd always been throwing chatterbaits for redfish already too. There's so many different things you can use when they're far up in the grass. A freaking bone colored popping frog, they'll flat out smoke it.
That's right.
Smoke it.
That's right.
So what y'all got into kayak fishing, both of y'all started venturing out and figuring areas out and everything, and then right there where y'all are at, you got a lot of tournaments in that area. That Bayou Coast Kayak Fishing Club, one of the oldest kayak fishing clubs there are. And how did y'all dive into that, or how did y'all hear? Did y'all hear through like social media? Did y'all join a group, or did you find some Facebook groups to join and kind of figured out about the competitions, or what led y'all into that?
Yeah, well, when we first got into it, a couple of people kind of told me about Bayou Coast. So we looked into it and said, heck yeah, that's what we want to do. Just to get our foot in the door and learn from people. And so we did, and started seeing all these tournaments. And of course, I'm pretty competitive. So that was the first thing I wanted to do. I knew I was going to get my butt kicked, which I did regularly and probably still do. But it gave us that thing. I started first, and then I realized she didn't like not being included. So we both jumped in, and everywhere we go now, it's her and I, we fish into it.
So y'all actually fish against each other, and then like recently, y'all have dove in headfirst into these elite redfish tournaments, and y'all been working as a team in those, correct?
That's right.
Correct.
Right.
How's that? I don't know if me and my wife could handle Chase. If I tried to tell her, hey, we're going here, we got to do this, and she'd be like, I don't know about that. So there's got to be some
right.
give and take, right? For
It's
figuring out
definitely
areas
a,
and kind of breaking it down.
Absolutely. A lot of times. Go ahead, Janie.
Yeah.
oh, there's a lot of give and take. We're still learning the area, so we'll split up and kind of study maps and divide and conquer. Tucker, please go. Sorry, the dog wants to be on the
The dog wants to be
podcast.
on the show. There you go. Oh, it's all good. So yeah, like you said, there y'all will break down areas and kind of go your own way and kind of figure some stuff out. Yeah, that's just just like any other team. You got to, you do work together, and you there's a game plan in these things at times, and and if you only have a day before a tournament, you don't want to go sore lip a bunch of your fish, and then there's some strategies and all that, and you start figuring it out, and the fun thing of a lot of things about when we had the coronavirus, all that, we did have a lot of the CPR style events on the saltwater side too, but a lot of the redfish events are live weigh-ins. You got to keep your fish alive. The fish carrier comes into play. Actually having a live well on the kayak, or you can't only drag them a certain speed if you're going to keep them on a stringer back to the launch. But when you're making long runs, it's tough on the fish, especially on them tournaments in June, July, August. It's tough. So what's some of that curve kind of figuring out on that? What kind of strategies do y'all have, when you started diving in? Was it like a steep learning curve? Like,
oh my goodness. Well, everywhere we went was brand new. First tournament we had in Port Arthur, we had never fished in Texas, never knew anything. So luckily we had a day to look around. But we've learned that working together, like conquering certain ponds, she'll go down one side, I'll go down the other, and I've found that it'll push fish to you. Like she'll push fish to me, and I'll push fish to her. So we're learning things as we go. Yep. So it's just a constant having to do it together is different, because you can't be more than 100 yards, I believe, maybe 200 yards away from each other. So you have to be close.
Yeah, you have to stay in sight, line of sight, and all that stuff. And if you have like a flag or something, there's going to be at times you could pass through another slough and go into another lake, and you're still 100 yards apart. That's just how it is, in the marsh. There's all kind of there's a maze of stuff, Yeah, for sure.
Right. Keeping the fish alive. That is a whole nother challenge. That is something you better be prepared for. You better know what to do, and then you still may lose some. But if you do it right, I'm learning you can keep them alive.
Yeah, redfish are a lot more hardy than trout. So when you try to keep trout alive, it's tough. It can be tough on a kayak.
I couldn't even imagine trying to keep a trout alive.
Oh, I know. It's tough. You can only go so fast with them on the stringer, and you got to get them back and get them in the live well, get that water cooled off, and get that G juice on them, or rejuvenate, and get the O2 cranked up and the bubblers and the circulator, and it's just, you got to babysit them, and that's sometimes that's one person's job. Somebody could have a hot hand that day and be on the fish, and then and then somebody's like, well, I'll volunteer. I'll take care of these fish right now. You just try. We can upgrade one. You could have like an 8-pounder and a 6-pounder. Like, man, if I can get another 8, dude, then the one died, then we might still be okay. So, you gotta, there's all them thoughts of that in mind, and I know it's a learning curve. It's for sure. What destinations?
It's exciting.
Oh yeah, for sure. The just the thrill of it. And then, what's really exciting is when you're standing around and you're at that award ceremony and they call your name for a check. That's when it really hits you. Well, it does hit you pretty good.
Yes, indeed. I know one thing that I really find exciting about that is, that big red big fish that we go. I mean, there'd be a $4,000 or $5,000 fish swimming around there. One cast.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yep.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's
See, and that's the
pretty
thing.
exciting. So
we're lucky over here, you know, to have those tournaments, the elite starting back up to add a kayak division, and then the professional redfish league Ron Henny runs. I just hope they can get their act together and quit scheduling on top of each other. Because all it's doing, I'm putting that out there. All it's doing is hurting the anglers. It's not giving the anglers opportunities because you got to pick and choose. And this kind of pisses me off, you know. I would really wish they both get their head out of their ass and quit fighting each other. You know, I'll go off on a tangent every now and then on here. And that's one tangent I would like to bring up. Because basically all those it's hurting the anglers. It's not helping us. It's making us pick or choose, and they're not getting the participation they would get if they'd separate them and quit scheduling on top of each other. Okay, enough of that. All right. Locations that y'all fished over here. Y'all fished the Sabine Port Arthur event. Then y'all also fished the Kemah one, correct?
Galveston,
Kemah. Yeah. So y'all fished the Galveston area, Freeport, and somewhere around over there. Yeah. There's a lot of Galveston. A lot of water over there. A lot of people on the water.
One thing we learned, we probably need to invest in some taquitos.
Some money. Yeah. To, in the motors. Yeah. Definitely get you away from the crowds for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as some of that,
that would be
right. Yes. As far as that, some of the waters y'all fished here in Texas, I know probably more Sabine, Port Arthur kind of compares, but like Galveston and some of the other stuff, how does that compare to some of the waters around Grand Isle and Point of Shane and all that? You know, is there a little comparison there, or is it really night and day difference?
To me, it was night and day.
Yeah, Janie, it was like different for you. Well, yeah, chime in on that a little bit. What was going on?
Totally different.
Yeah, water clarity.
I'm just
and different
used
things.
to the water clarity, and then it was double tides during the day. We're not used to double tides, so that was something new. It was very strange to have those double tides so fast. But the clarity was the biggest thing for me, was the clarity.
Yeah.
Now Chris is totally different.
And sometimes it's pretty dirty, you know, over that way. But then, you know, the further south you start getting, once you get past like Sargent, Matagorda, Port Lavaca, you get down the Rockport, Aransas Pass, Corpus, and all that, it starts getting real clear. You start getting a lot of grass flats and sand pockets and all that. Now there is some marsh areas down there here and there you can slip into, but you start dealing with the clear water, and it gets a little different. Yeah, definitely another.
Galveston reminded me though a lot of Grand Isle
area. Yeah, Galveston can have some good fish over there.
Just the sand bottoms and the oysters. Goodness, there are so many oysters in that East Bay of Galveston. Wow.
Yeah, East Bay's got a ton of stuff for sure. Yep, depending on where you're at. You know, and then once you get down to West Bay and all, y'all fished East Bay then. Okay.
Yeah,
East Bay's a little different.
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater,
I believe, was where we fished.
Yeah. Yeah, and it gets a little different over there towards in the West Bay area as you start getting closer to San Luis Pass, and then get on into Christmas Bay and Drum Bay and all that over there. There's some good stuff there along the Intracoastal, bunch of little lakes and stuff too that kind of remind me of Louisiana. Also, same with Sabine and down that way, Keith Lake and some of that. Yeah, Sabine's reminds me of Louisiana for sure. Just right across the border, just right across the way. Yeah. I like fishing bass. I like fishing the Sabine River for bass too. I like fishing tidal fisheries for bass. It's a challenge. Anything else? Oh yeah, it's fun. That's what I grew up in Georgia doing, fishing the Altamaha River. And, you know, tidal fishery for bass. It's always tough. Get them figured out. You know.
Awesome.
There's definitely a lot involved in it, in planning and figuring out areas. I mean, it's just so vast over there with the Natchez and the Sabine River, basin right there, everything, all the canals and everything that connect, and just the little lakes and everything. It's just crazy. You can catch bass, and then you can turn around and catch solid redfish right there too. I know y'all got some areas over there in Louisiana that are the same way.
Yeah.
You catching some good
Hopedale.
crappie. Yeah, Hopedale's. Yeah. You next thing you know, you catch a big old crappie or something. You catch a bass, and then like a giant redfish, and then a flounder. It's all mixed in. Yep, big old blue cat.
I got my first crappie the other night.
Really?
Oh gosh. She thought it was a bass.
I thought it was a girl bass.
A girl bass. Hey, they good eating. Sakalai. Oh yeah.
It was a big one.
Oh yeah, what'd you get it on?
I got it on a green pumpkin worm or lizard with the legs cut off.
Oh, cool.
I cut the legs off my lizards.
Oh. Don't be giving that away. No, I'm playing. So Chris is
I don't think I'm the first one to do that.
I know. I've gave away some stuff on here before, and it's like, God dang, I done slipped up. On that. Okay. We're gonna get into the sight casting and all that, redfish. When you're sneaking up on them, sometimes they're just happy-go-lucky, and they'll be right by the kayak, and you drop your dang bait right in front of them on the end of your rod, and they'll slam it. And sometimes they're the spookiest fish in the water. I mean, you even dip your paddle into the water and like gone. So let's dive into that a little bit. Slowing down or downsizing baits, is that do y'all have to do that sometimes in Louisiana when they get finicky?
Absolutely. The first thing I had to learn was slowing down. Goodness.
Yeah.
When I first started, it was just a sightseeing trip. I scare everything 20 yards around me. But I've learned little things, no doubt. Being quiet. I have a marine mat put in our kayaks to help with that. And then I've also learned one of the biggest things I've learned is to match the sky. If it's overcast, I'll wear gray. If it's bluebird, I'll wear blue. White a lot of times, just to kind of match the background.
White, blue to blend in with the clouds. Yep. No,
that's right.
That's something a lot of people don't take into play.
Yeah. Well, I found that out on accident one day, actually. It just took off from there, and man, it works. It really does. And then, the biggest thing I learned is not throwing at the fish, throwing way above them, watching them and figuring out which way they're going, throw way above them and let it sit there.
Yep.
And then
let it sit there and just pop it, twitch it right when they get there. Yep. That's a big thing when they're spooky to do that. Yeah. Because a lot of times you try to hit them on the head, they're going to go. Yep. And the thing is, sometimes here, there are certain days that I'll spook fish in the kayak, just paddling and easing along, and they'll be waking away, and I'll throw the bait to them and pop it right when they get, and I'll get them to eat after I spooked them. There's times they do that, but then there's times they don't even want to. They don't want to see it. They don't want to have nothing to do with it.
That happened this weekend, man. I've never seen it. I threw every color I had, and they just turned their nose. I put on a crawl. First lick, I mean, everything started smashing them. So it's just a matter of going through your baits. If they're not biting,
cycling through,
they're going to bite something. You just got to figure out what it is.
Yep. Sometimes the kick of that leg of them crawls, it looks like a little crab scurrying away, and they would straight smash it. I don't gotta say nothing else. Crab procure on them things, and then the lake you can't use no scent, but Yeah, if I'm out fun fishing, I'm putting some crab scent on them craws because they will straight kill them. Yep. And them underspins too.
That's
Sometimes they like them underspins, those lazy man hooks. That's the first ones that kind of come out of Louisiana that work pretty good with them craws, you know.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people in Texas
We
throw
use them
that.
sometimes.
Yep. Gambler makes a good one too. The does it. D-U-Z-I-T. Does it. Good screw lock with a Colorado blade on it. Yeah, willow leaf blade. Yeah, willow leaf.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Do you find silver or gold you like?
I like gold more than silver. There's times I'll throw some silver on the grass flats, but most of the time I'm throwing gold. Throwing a gold color blade, gold spoon. Right. Actually, black. I like a black blade too at times. Sometimes they like the black. Look like a mud minnow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when them mud minnows are thick, they like them. Yes, sir. I do like that black blade on the chatterbait at times, but a black plastic, like a solid black plastic. Sometimes they just that outline, you know. And then wake baits, I throw the fool out of wake baits. The little small junior, the hunchback juniors. You want to cover water?
Yeah.
And figure out the fish. Yeah. That thing.
Well, when we first started,
pissing fish off.
Yeah, when we first started, a guy, I cannot remember who it was, but he gave me some of the best advice for a first-time kayaker, and that was to keep it simple. So what we did was we found one good bait, and we worked that bait, and we stayed religious to a bait, and we just fished that bait. We found something that worked, and it would catch everything. So that's what we use. We don't really mix around. And now we're starting to dive into some different baits and trying some different things. But at first, man, we just kept that white paddle tail and we worked the fool out of it and didn't do bad, you know? So that's kind of where we want, and we keep it that way, you know, just keep it simple. That's the best advice I can give.
Yep. And Janie, like really diving into fishing like a little over 2 years ago. So you're having to learn like everything about these baits and figure them all out. How's that been?
It's still a challenge. Like Chris said, I still kind of stick to what I like to use. So he will change his bait 20 times throughout the trip. And I stick to 2, and that's the 2 I use, and I keep it very simple. I'll go to get Chris's stuff out of his kayak, and there's like 20 baits everywhere. I'm like, I still have the same one that I had when I started.
Look like my tackle box threw up sometimes. Yeah, there's baits everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Chris's kayak.
Sometimes I'll have 5 rods with me. I have a topwater, a paddle tail, a wake bait, a double D or like a chatterbait, and then a popping cork with a shrimp imitation, because on them windy days when they don't want nothing else, you got to make some noise and call them in if you ain't seeing them. And I'm not one just to ride around and look for the fish. If I'm not seeing schools and active fish, I'm blind casting like a fool. Because the more you got more chances with that lure in the water than just sitting there hanging off the end of your rod outside the water, you know.
So what are your percentages, you think, Dustin, of blind casting compared to sight casting? Does it just depend on the different scenarios, the places?
Yeah, it just depends on different scenarios and depends on what, you know, if I'm seeing active blowups and stuff, there might not be schools around, but I'll you know, you'll sound like a toilet flush. Sometimes you'll hear that dang fish way up in that grass or something. And if you can't actively see him, I'm just blind casting, or I'm putting a popping cork and just banging the crap out of it and trying to call him out of that grass. But I mean, I've caught a lot of good fish just covering water when they're not actively schooling. You know, little bait flicker here and there. Just make sure, as long as you got bait in the area, you know, normally you got wind blown shoreline, you got bait getting pushed up in there. There's most of the places I frequent, the fish are going to be there. You know, they're pretty high percentage. I like the high.
Boils.
Yep. Birds, bulls, little bait flickers, stuff like that. Just
nice.
high percentage areas, cutouts, drains, changes in the grass, different types of grass, transitions in the grass lines, in shell. Yep, I'm blind casting all of that. If I'm not seeing active schools, I'm covering water, using that motor, cover water. I'm not one to sit in front of a drain all morning and just throw a popping cork.
Mm-mm. I'm too ADHD for that.
Same. Janie's shaking her head. She's like, no.
I can't. Yeah. He'll sit longer than me.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. I'm going to find something.
Yeah, that's why we have separate kayaks. It's like, I'm gone, peace.
Yep, I'm gone, dude. Let's go. Let's try to get them. Let's go. So I saw online that they're going to change the trout regulations there in Louisiana starting in February of next year. And they're going to bump the size up to 14, and they're going to reduce the limit. 14 inches is going to be the minimum size, and then they're going to reduce it from 25 to 15. I know it's been like that in some areas, but it's going to be statewide now.
That's awesome.
Yes, that's what I was glad to see, that, because
we personally do that limit on ourselves too. We never keep 12 or 13. If it's not 14,
yeah,
it's not worth keeping. Let them get bigger.
There ain't no meat. There's no meat on no 12-inch fish. It's like you can't even make a freaking fish sandwich with 2 little fillets. It's like, dang.
You got a little fish stick.
I know, and not even a fish stick. I go to Long John Silver's to get some Crispies too.
Yeah, no, they're if they're not 14, man, it's just not worth cleaning. Or
I know. And then I heard
they're fun. I don't want to take up one of my spots.
Yeah, there's been some chatter about the flounder limits getting dropped too.
Yeah.
And as far as
had a lot of flounder this year caught though.
Yeah, and as far as trout goes though, the solid, like the 18, 20-inch fish, y'all been fishing a couple years now. Have you not caught as many recently, or have you seen any change in the last couple of years?
Well, we found some good fish this summer. No doubt they're there, and decent sized ones. We love Grand Isle, of course, and that's where we were all summer. And man, we caught some nice fish.
How much did the hurricane last year change some of them strip ponds and stuff all there off of Highway 1? It's not too bad, or did it get changed?
Oh, it got changed.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Further up north, it got. It changed a lot. Leeville, that area.
Yeah.
We don't
Golden
fish
Meadow,
it that much.
Golden Meadow.
They say. Yeah. So it was changed a lot, but where we had been and familiar with in Grand Isle, there's not a lot of change. Everything was still there. The worst thing we saw was the back of the island silted in for a while after the hurricane. It used to be sand bottom, but there's 6 inches of soot. It was pretty nasty at the beginning of the summer.
Yeah. Back there by the Grand Isle Marina on the top of the island, back around there.
Yeah.
Or the backside of the pass.
Bayside. Yeah.
On the Bayside where the rocks are at. Yep. That was some pretty good trout habitat there.
Oh, it still is.
Oh, it still is.
Still is.
Yep. There's some good stuff over that way. Yeah. But I know there's a lot of like little coming in on Highway 1. Once you come down and jump across, there's some roadside launches there. You see a lot of kayakers off the side of the road and all. There's some little some strip ponds and stuff that are pretty good. It's like, man, I hope none of that got changed too much. Because I hadn't been
not
back.
down LA1, but like Chris said, like Leeville up.
Up was pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Down
Yeah.
LA1, like you said, yeah. Leeville
Still
up
pretty cool.
is messed up, but LA1 down to Grand Isle is pretty much the same.
Yeah, cool. I know I didn't get to make Ride the Bull this year. I just had some conflicts and stuff, and then last year we all know what happened. We were there. I was there Thursday, and we were fishing. We got caught in some squalls coming in on that northeast corner of the island, and I had 4-foot waves. I was jumping the big rig with the 1103 coming up. We did haul the butt, had lightning all over us. Then they called for a mandatory evacuation. I was with Jeff Little from Torquedo. We were there he was going to set up a booth, and I was fishing the Ride the Bull event. And then he's like, "Man, should we fish in the morning?" I was like, "No, sir." I was like, "We're getting the hell out of Dodge, or we're going to be stuck in traffic. That's what's going to happen." And we ate at some cool restaurant, had a great meal that night, and they were all like business as usual, serving food the night before the hurricane hit the next day.
No big deal.
That restaurant was pretty cool. And then I was like, "Nah, Jeff, we're getting up early. We getting out of here. We need to get on the road and get through because we're gonna start getting traffic." And they were like,
Was it
mandatory
Hurricane
evacuation.
Hole?
Yeah. Yep.
I think that they have a really nice restaurant on Grand Isle called Hurricane Hole. Was that
I'm not
it?
sure if that was it, but it was like top notch. It was top notch food. I mean, I've worked in the culinary field. I've been a chef many.
Yeah, it was Hurricane Hole.
Yeah, it was like
They
legit.
have excellent food.
It was kind of a yellowish color, I think. And
Hurricane Hole.
Yeah, they had good drinks and they had really good food. Really good food.
Yep. And they also have really good fishing behind their place on the rocks.
Behind there. Yeah, everybody's going to hear that one. Oh yeah. Well, cool. Well, yeah, I'm glad to see that those limits on the trout getting taken care of. I know a lot of the younger fishermen coming up have all been for it. I know it's probably pissing some people off, but we had the same thing here after that freeze. We had some different slots go into effect on certain bodies of water and stuff. I mean, we did have a pretty good kill. But Mother Nature's gonna do what she's gonna do. They're gonna take what they want. All right. Well, we're kind of to the tail end of this, want to get into what I usually do called a pick 3. We're gonna do both. We're gonna do both of y'all tonight. We're gonna say give them a shot. So pick 3 setups: rod, reel, bait, lure, whatever is gonna be on there for redfish. All right. Give me your first one, Chris. What you got? What's the first one?
My money. Can y'all see that?
Yeah. Tell me what it is.
That is a Zook. Right. This is a Zook inshore T2. Absolutely awesome rod. And then of course I have a Shimano. We're big Shimano's Karada. And I use the swim jig. And then of course the Slam Shady.
Slam
Z-Man.
Shady. Yep, Z-Man Slam Shady with the eye strike jig head.
Yep.
Can't go wrong with that right there.
Swim
That's
eye
the first
strike
one.
jig head.
Yep.
That's
and what would you be your number one go-to, Janie?
Money. This one.
That's the only thing I use for redfish.
Oh, okay. That's what you throw for redfish. All right. That's what we got it. All right, Chris, number 2.
That's it.
That's it. Keep it simple, stupid, Nip. That's it.
I keep it simple.
There you go. Hey, it'll catch fish for sure.
Hey, even simpler. Back to Zook. I mean, I only use Zook. They're really good.
Yep.
But this is just a $49 H2O from Academy, which are awesome in saltwater. Goodness gracious, we wear these things out and they never stop. It's amazing.
Sweet.
I don't know anything about it. And then this is by David King's Triggered Baits. I'm a big white guy. I really like whites and silvers and golds, and flakes, and it's been pretty awesome. It's been pretty good. So
Cool.
that would be my number two.
Number two, and then number three. What you got?
I like the salt strong one.
You like the Salt Strong paddle tails? Yeah. Oh yeah, they make some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I got one of the guys from Salt Strong moved over this way. Wyatt. Salt Strong Wyatt.
Yep. Yeah, Wyatt moved that way. He sure did.
Yeah.
And then my last one.
All right.
Back on a Shimano. This is a Falcon rod. This is actually Janie's rod. And this is a new bait out by Southern Salt. They call it the Hoodwink. Kind of strange, but man, it's got some crazy action in it.
It's almost like a long skinny creature bait. Yeah.
Yeah, flounder are just blowing this thing up. It's been really good. Oh, Nathan's got a good thing going.
Yep. Shout out Nathan. Southern Salt. Yes, sir. Good stuff.
Yeah. This weekend we were in a pond and we could see the redfish blowing up everywhere. And so I went to cast to one of the reds and ended up catching a flounder on it. I was like, where did he come from?
Yeah. He was like,
but it was on that Hoodwink.
Dang, there you go. He's got some cool colors too. I'm checking them out. I'm probably gonna order a few colors I might be checking out for the winter time and then Trigger David King from the Stank Stick. Stick. Yes, sir.
Stank.
Hey.
Put some stank on them.
Just make sure you take it out of your fishing clothes before you wash the laundry.
Oh, because then the whole load smells like the stank.
I did that this weekend.
Chris is shaking his head. And who did it, Chris or you, Janie? You did it?
No,
I did it.
Oh goodness, it ruined.
It was
the
me.
Whole load was bad. Man.
Oh, it was bad.
You're like so fresh and so clean. Like nope, stanky. Get off of it.
It was bad.
Woo, man. Dang. So all right, we got another one. We're gonna do quick 5. This is something I started doing like just a little while back. Just pick one of these, one or the other. Janie, we're gonna go fish. Go first. We're gonna go Janie and then Chris. Okay, Janie, redfish or trout?
Redfish.
Chris, which one?
Chris.
Redfish or trout? Trout?
I love big trout, man.
All right,
I love big trout.
All right, Janie, gumbo or etouffee?
I'm gumbo.
There you go. Gumbo. Chris, what are you? Gumbo? There you go. All right, we're gonna talk some gambling here. You in Louisiana? I like to gamble. My wife likes some slot machines, but I like blackjack. But blackjack or craps? What are you gonna do? You gonna play some cards or roll some dice?
Blackjack.
There you go, Chris.
Blackjack.
Oh, I'm rolling dice.
There you go. All right, crabs it is. All right. Tops or tails? Top water or paddle tail? Janie, we know what yours is.
Paddle tail.
Paddle tail. Chris, what you got?
Easy.
Every day.
Easy. Paddle tail.
Yep. Paddle tail. All right. And here's a toss up. This one might be kind of tough on y'all. So y'all know y'all like both areas. Grand Isle or pack? If you got to pick one or the other.
Grand Isle.
All right. Chris?
I'm going to go with 2-part. During the summer, Grand Isle, no doubt. During the winter, pack.
There you go. That I can take that.
Yeah, I will. Sure. I will agree with that.
There you go. And right now it's like over here. You know, they don't call it Red October for nothing because that's what's going on right now. Them redfish are flat stupid over here right now, dude.
It's on fire.
Yeah, been great over here. And this time of year is when, like Janie, you got a lot of confidence in that paddle tail, but this is when you can experiment and get confidence in other baits too. This is the time of year to do that.
Yeah, that's I need to branch out. I need to learn at least another one.
There you go. I'm telling you,
Learn
covering
one new
water,
bait a year.
covering water, that wake bait is money. Anything from 1 to 3 foot, because you can burn it a little faster and get down a little deeper, or you can just kind of slow wobble it on top, and that little rattle, that action, the redfish cannot resist it. You just got to upgrade your hooks, because if not, they'll bend. Upgrade the hooks, folks. Y'all.
You got all that, Chris?
Yep. There's a couple of good colors too that are good. Those little juniors are really good. Little hunchback juniors. They got a cool little action on them. They just call the fish in, and all you do is throw them in and reel them back. You pause them every now and then, because sometimes them, especially in the clear water, the fish like just come out and follow them. And then I'll pause it, and then they'll look at it, and then you just twitch it, and then they just go stupid on it, But a lot of times when they're not keyed in on that top water, you're getting short strikes on that top water. I'll throw a wake bait in there, and they'll annihilate it. Pretty good stuff. Well, shoot, man, I appreciate y'all coming on the show.
Trying to learn from guys like you.
Oh man, I still learn myself. I'll tell you that right now. There's always learning and growing. That's the best thing. That's the best way to put it, And it just,
that's what I was about to say. If you're not learning, you're not growing.
Exactly. That's the truth right there. And then that's the cool thing about kayak fishing. Most people will share, like when you're at the tournament, there's your tackle talk and everything. Most people are going to share what they the day on the water. Most. And I don't know about y'all, but the camaraderie and the hanging out at the weigh-in and supporting your friends and even your arch rivals that win, that's the big part of the community. I love the community for sure. So I wanted to get y'all's insight on that. How welcoming the kayak community is to newcomers. It is for sure. Yep. And y'all are in a great area there with Bayou Coast, with the clubs there. And then
with Bayou Coast, tons of good guys there, tons of great anglers.
You got
many good tips.
Young bucks. You got Brock from the Louisiana Custom Kayaks. You got, there's just so many cool people around. And the Lake Charles has a cool little kayak fishing club. There's a Lafayette club. And they all have bass tournaments.
Yeah, we're in the Lafayette one too.
Yep. Kalen's a cool dude.
Lafayette has
Kalen, and then Thibodeau and all them, all them guys over there. Super cool,
Yep. Kalen's fishing the elite with us. Also, him and Dustin.
Oh, that's cool.
Kalen and Thibodeau.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both fishing it cool. Yep. I wish I could make it over for that one. It just doesn't work for me. I saw that and I was like, dang.
Yeah.
That's the 23rd. See, that's when we have our multi-species event.
The 23rd.
I needed to plug. Yeah. Paddle and fin, 3 Bells, Outfitters, redfish, greenfish, smackdown. So redfish on the first day. 22nd, bass on the second day, the 23rd of October on Lake Bass Drop. So it's gonna be a multi-species event. Should be fun. Should be fun. If I wasn't doing that, I would be in Louisiana for sure.
We have 2 tournaments that weekend. One for Trout Challenge and then one for Elite.
Yeah, that's gonna be stacked.
Yeah,
that's when it's fun though.
Trout Challenge.
Yeah. See, and I missed Fall and Tide this year again. So I think I'm really going to try to make the minimalist challenge next year for sure.
Yeah, Mr. Brock Miller won that with an awesome bag.
He did. Brock's.
He had a perfect bag.
About time to bring him back on again. They've been blowing up too with their little company. Like I said, Louisiana Custom Kayaks.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Work. Yep, doing good. Really good kid, man. Good kid.
Yes, indeed.
Well, shoot, man. It was a pleasure having you all on tonight.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much.
Enjoyed having y'all on, man.
Thank you for having us.
We run it up on almost an hour here, so usually try to keep it around an hour. That way I'm not dragging on and trying to talk about the same things, even though I can't talk the paint off the wall and talk fishing forever. Got to leave a little something for the next one. That's what we're gonna do. All right, so yeah, we want to give y'all a chance to thank any support you have or any sponsors and little shout outs or whatever. Y'all go ahead and give thanks and shout outs, man. Y'all got it.
Absolutely. First off, again, thank you, Paddle and Fin, for having us on. We'd also like to thank our sponsor, Triggered Baits, David King Stank Stick. He does a great job with us. We'd also like to recognize Zook Rods. And we definitely can't leave out Salt Strong. They have really brought us along and helped us along the way.
Cool deal.
We also like to thank our 2 clubs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our 2 clubs, Bayou Coast, Kayak Fishing, and Lafayette Kayak Fishing. Bunch of great guys out there. If y'all want to look us up, y'all can. Check us out.
Cool deal. Yep. Wanted to check everybody out right here. When y'all go give them a look. Y'all go follow them along. They have a Facebook page called Bent Rods Kayak Fishing. BNTROD.
Just a little chronicle of what we do.
Yep. Keep up with Janie and Chris.
What we do. That's basically what we do.
Yep. Y'all go give them give their page a follow. Bent Rods Kayak Fishing, and keep track of what Chris and Janie are up to. Hopefully. Wrecking them at the Bayou Coast Trout event and on the Elite Trail. What area is that in exactly, the Elite Tournament?
The Elite Tournament is going to be, it's like any of them. You can fish anywhere in Louisiana. You just have to
just as long as you can get the weigh in by 4 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah.
So we know where we're going.
Okay.
We know exactly where we're going.
Is it a good little haul to the weigh in, or is it kind of close?
I think we're like 45 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad. That's good. That's perfect. Yeah. Hopefully you'll be done by 9 o'clock. Yeah. Be done by 9 o'clock with 2.
Man, hopefully I'm babysitting.
Yeah.
That's right. Babysitting.
Babysitting them fish. Oh yeah. Well, shoot, yeah, man. Well, we're gonna wrap it up for this edition of Chasing the Tide. Once again, thank y'all for coming on. Thank y'all to the listeners. Without the people listening to this show, we wouldn't be in it anyway. So, as always, like and follow. Go check the page out, Chasing the Tide, on Facebook, and then the Paddle and Fin page. Also, remember to not forget to check in on that and see all the updates and everything else. And also on YouTube, you can catch this one on YouTube and catch the video along with the audio if you're listening to this on a podcast platform. Don't forget about the YouTube channel there too. Paddle and Fin, Paddle, the letter N, Fin. So we're going to hit that outro, and Janie and Chris, y'all hang tight, and we'll wrap it up. All right.
Janie Lang.
All right. Thank y'all.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode here on Paddle and Fin. Be sure to drop a 5-star rating, a thumbs up, or smash that subscribe button on any platform you're listening in on. Be sure to check us out on Waypoint TV, waypointtv.com. Make sure you sign up for the Fantasy Kayak Fishing League at paddleandfin.com/fantasy. You can support this show through Patreon, patreon.com/paddleandfin. Don't forget to check out the website, paddleandfin.com. Catch us on YouTube. If you got a question, comment, or want to see a future guest on the show, be sure to email us at paddleandfin@gmail.com. Shout out to our show supporters, Yak Gadget. You can check out all the fine kayak accessories at yakgadget.com. Pelican Professional. For all your cases, coolers, and lighting needs, go to pelican.com. Rocktown Adventures, your Midwest premier paddle sports destination. Go to rocktownadventures.com. Eastport Marina, the beautiful destination on Dale Hollow Lake. If you're looking for lodging, kayaks, kayak accessories, or anything fishing related on the beautiful Dale Hollow Lake, go to eastport.info. And Jigmasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com and fill your tackle boxes today.